Hello Year 4, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. Welcome back to another English lesson with Miss Borhan. I want you to get your pencils and your exercise books and write down the long date, Thursday 25th of June 2020, and the LI to retrieve information from text. Excellent. So who remembers what we mean when we say retrieve? Pause and have a think. So retrieve means when we get information from somewhere. Well done if you got that correct. Okay, so now we're going to be reading through this text. Just have a quick look at it, just skim through it and tell me what type of text is this. So pause the section. Excellent. It's an information text, which is a non-chronological report. Well done if you got that correct. So this is all. So non-chronological reports, are they a piece of fiction work or non-fiction? You can just shout out the answer. It's a piece of non-fiction work, so that means there's all facts over here. Well done if you got that correct. So I want you to pause this section and read through this text loudly to develop the fluency of your reading, and then you can unpause this section and then we can read it together. So this text can be found on the Year 4 online learning platform, so you can either print it out and read it on the paper, or if not, you can just read it over here. That's absolutely fine. You can just make your screen big so that you can read through this text. Okay, great. Now let's read through this together. All about honeybees. Honeybees are flying insects and are related to wasps and ants. They have a smaller and slimmer body than bumblebees. Fascinating facts. Honeybees die after they have stung. Their sting is barbed and sticks into the skin of the person or animal that they have stung. To pass on information about different flowers and fruits to each other, honeybees use a waggle dance. Honeybees make honey, which animals and humans eat. Now we have some subheadings over here. Where do they live? Honeybees can be found living in jungles, woodlands, forests, and gardens in many parts of the world, apart from Antarctica, where it is too cold for them to survive. They make their own homes where they live, called a hive. These can be found in places such as the hollow of a tree. Each hive can contain up to 80,000 bees. What do they eat? Honeybees eat pollen and nectar from flowers. Pollen is a fine powder made by plants and used by other plants to make seeds. Pollen helps the honeybee to grow. Nectar is a sugary liquid that gives the honeybee energy. Staying safe. Honeybees can use their sting to protect them, although they are mainly gentle insects and will only attack if threatened. The honeybee has a number of predators, including birds, small mammals, reptiles, and other insects. Also, larger mammals such as bears destroy the hive of the honeybees so that they can eat the honey inside. Okay, so now that we've read through this fact file about honeybees, we're going to go over this in more detail, and this can all help you towards your final information leaflet. So you can have one of your subheadings can be on honeybees. So this is all relevant to our final information leaflet. So let's see, how can we summarize a text? So we need to read and understand the text carefully. That's why it's so important to read out loud, so that we can understand what we have read. Think about the purpose of the text. What is the author's purpose in writing the text? So what is the author's purpose for the honeybees text? They're informing us about what honeybees are. Select the relevant and key information. You find the main ideas and you see what is important. You rewrite the main ideas in complete and full sentences. So remember when we were going through our note-taking lesson, we wrote down the main ideas in our own sentences, because if we're just copying it word by word, we're not going to understand and remember this information later on. So that's why you need to write it in your own words so that you can remember it at a later date. And you can look at each paragraph, locate the topic sentence, which is often the first sentence, and decide what the main point is, and you can list the key points. So now you can pause this section and read through these bullet points again on how to summarize a text. And I want you to summarize the text about honeybees in one paragraph. So when we're summarizing, we don't write pages upon pages because it's just a short summary. So this text, as I previously said, is on the Year 4 online learning platform, so you can print it out. Or if not, you can just go back to the section where we read the text and summarize it. So pause this section and do it now. Excellent. So once you're done, you can take a picture and show me how you summarize the text. So I hope you read through these bullet points and selected the key information, the main ideas, and condensed it all into one concise paragraph. Excellent. So now let's answer some questions about honeybees and let's see how we can retrieve our answers from the text. So the first question is, what is the difference between the bumblebee and the honeybee? So we can find the answer over here where the arrow is pointing towards. So the difference between bumblebees and honeybees is the body size. Honeybees have a smaller and slimmer body than bumblebees. So remember to always write in full sentences, because when we're writing in full sentences, if someone else is reading your work, they'll be able to know what the question was asking. But if you just write a one-word answer, no one will know what question you've been answering. Question 2, where in the world do honeybees not live and why? Okay, so now this question is split into two different sections. So firstly, where in the world do honeybees not live? So it's not asking where they live, so let's underline this keyword. So this is the first section, and the second part of the question, why? So you need to explain your answer. Now let's take a look at this non-chronological text. Where can we find our answer? Where do you think our answer will be? It'll be under this subheading, where do they live? Now remember, non-chronological reports are not written in any time order, so that means you can go through any subheading that you want and look through the information. So I want you to now look through that subheading and skim through the information, because we've already read it once, so you should have some idea about what the text is about, but now you have to skim and scan and look out for the key words to find your answer. Excellent work, everyone. So they do not live in Antarctica. That is the first part of the question, but that's not enough because the question is asking why. So you say because it is too cold for them to survive. Now I hope you're writing these answers down as well. Now you could write your answers. It doesn't have to be exactly like the way I've written it, but as long as you got the main key facts, that's all that matters. So question 3, where do honeybees live? So we're still focusing on the same subheading. Now I want you all to look for the answer. Honeybees live in jungles, woodlands, forests, and gardens in many parts of the world. Now, how many honeybees can fit in a hive? Now, let's see where we're still focusing on the same subheading. Each hive can contain up to 80,000 bees. Now, what do you think a hive is? Pause and have a think, and think about all the research that you've done about bees. Excellent, well done everyone. So a hive is a man-made structure in which some honeybees live and where they raise their young. So it's like a nest of any bee colony. So a group of bees. Okay, so the next question, what do they eat? What subheading do you think you need to refer to find your answer? It's what do they eat? Now you can skim and scan through this section to find the answer. Excellent. Now, if I just say pollen, is that correct? How can you write that answer in a full sentence? I want you all to write this down. Honeybees eat pollen and nectar from flowers. So that's how it would be written in a full sentence. Who is a honeybee's predator? So now that we've already focused on these two subheadings, where do you think you'll find the answer for this question? Staying safe. Well done if you got that correct. Well done if you inferred that we would be looking at the staying safe subheading, because when you're staying safe, that means you're staying safe from the predators. Now, who remembers what a predator means? Now, you've gone through this in science with Miss Naidu when you were focusing on the food chain. So I want you to pause and write down what a predator is. Excellent. Well done if you got that correct. So a predator is any animal that hunts and kills other organisms. So they are the predator, and the animals that they're hunting is called their prey, and they usually hunt them for food. So they're usually at the top of the food chain. So let's see who is a honeybee's predator. The honeybees has a number of predators including birds, small mammals, reptiles, and other insects. Now, for the seventh question, write one fact about honeybees. So now, these facts don't include any of the facts that we just went through in these questions. Look through this text and choose a fact that we haven't discussed, and I want you to write it down in full sentences. Well done, everyone. Okay, now, so for your task, you're going to be reading through a text, and a non-fiction text, and answering questions related to that. And you're going to be retrieving the answers from those texts. So for your 1-star activity, you have a text on Alexander Graham Bell. Now you should be familiar with who he is, because this was Tuesday's science lesson. Now I hope you all watched the video where I explained where you can access the foundation subjects, because we haven't uploaded the foundation subjects on our YouTube channel. However, if you go on a Year 4 Brain learning platform, you'll find the lessons dated with useful information and links. So I hope you all went through the science lesson on Alexander Graham Bell and who he was and what did he invent. So your 1-star activity, you can read this text and then you can answer questions, these multiple choice questions related to the text. So this will be on the school website as well, where you can access it. So depending on how confident you feel, you can start with this. If you feel a bit more confident, you can read this text, the 2-star activity, and answer questions related to that. So these will all be labeled on the school website. Now, if you know that you can do the 3-star activity, then start with the 3-star activity. Now, this text is all about understanding social distancing, which is very relevant to our current situation. So I want you to read through this text. You can summarize what you've read, look out for the key information, and do some, and then afterwards you can answer these questions. So remember, the questions that are not multiple choice, you need to be answering in full sentences. So remember to do that. This is all on this website, and if you can't print it out, that's absolutely fine. Just write it out neatly in your exercise book, and you can be practicing your handwriting skills as well. So once you've done all of that, you can check your answers, which will also be uploaded on the school site, and then you can tick it if you got it correct. And if you got something wrong, with a purple pen or any pen that you may have at home, you can identify the correct answer, and you can see where you went wrong. And then once you've marked your work, you can send your work over to year4@grange.harrow.sch.uk. Well done everyone, and see you in our next lesson.